In this video, I'm going to be talking about what to do when you have a team member who is not performing well on your project. Hi, this is Latina, your project manager with Kinsman Point Consulting. I help project managers build healthy relationships with their projects and their teams, and I also help businesses get their projects finished. Now, before I get into the subject, I just want to say that my desire for this channel is that I build a community of project managers or those who want to be project managers and get a dialogue going about experiences and tools and techniques within the field and all of those things related to project management. So if this information is of interest to you, please subscribe to my channel, hit that like button, hit that notification bell so that you can get notified of future videos. I'm going to be putting out some videos here in the coming weeks, and I would love for you to be a part of it and love to engage you in conversation. All right. So with that said, let's get into this. I have some notes here because I was thinking about this subject. Actually, it came about, I was reading an article online, and it's something that I've experienced before and I've had to deal with. So I decided to put this video out to just talk through it. What to do when you have a team member who is underperforming. They're missing deadlines. They're not prepared for meetings. They're just not doing the quality work that you expect on the project to get to the end of the outcome that you want for the project, right? So there's a lot of reasons why, somebody could be underperforming, a lot of reasons. And again, I've experienced this. I've had this happen to where I had a team member that just was not doing the work and actually completely missed a very important piece of the project that needed to be done. So I wanted to share a little bit of experience there and also give a few tips if that's something that you've experienced as well. Now, I'll say this, that if your company that you work for or your organization that you're in has a protocol for when a team member is not performing, follow that. Make sure you're aware of that. And if it's to the letter, if it's very specific in like step 1, 2, and 3, go with that. But in the event that there isn't, or in the event you've got a little wiggle room on how you handle this, here are some of my tips. So the tricky part of this as a project manager is that you likely, and I'm working from some notes here, so if you see me look down, that's what I'm doing. You likely do not manage that resource directly. You're not their direct manager, right? So even though that's true, you indirectly do manage them because you are responsible for the success of that project and the outcomes. So you are in effect their manager for the time that they are with you on that project. So some things you can do kind of in the beginning to minimize underperformance, some things that you can have in place on a regular basis are a couple, and I'm going to highlight a couple of these. So what you want to do is make sure everyone is clear on the role that they play on the project, right? They know what their role is, and likely they do, but you want to be super clear when you have that kickoff conversation, when the project is launching, what everybody's role is. Make sure everybody's clear. Now, you also want to set clear deadlines. Now, you've probably talked about the timeline and gone over the key milestones. If there are specific things that have to be done at specific times, now, if you're in a agile type of environment where you have phases or iterations on the project, there's things that are due, in this many weeks, that many weeks. You want to be really super clear on where those deadlines are, where those milestones are, and what needs to be done, what needs to be completed during those times. Again, probably things that you're already doing, but when you think about it from the standpoint of minimizing team underperformance, it's really important to be very clear, because a lot of times people may underperform because they just don't know what's expected of them. So you want to make the expectations clear. Another piece of the puzzle is you do want to identify if someone needs help, right? So if you've got a new person to the team, when I get new people on my team, I do a little bit of investigation of what their background is, where they're coming from, things like that, and kind of get a picture of what they might need. And if it's something where you feel like they might need to shadow someone because maybe this is a new industry or a new thing that you're asking them to do, then identify that early and ask the question, early. Don't wait until they start doing the work and you see that they are not performing well to do it. When you see it, address it at that moment, and identify that. And a lot of times, sometimes a team member won't be able to let you know that themselves, and they absolutely want the help. They absolutely want somebody to step in or someone to shadow with them, that sort of thing. That can help tremendously in minimizing underperformance. So you want to identify that. Your status updates. Structure your status updates so that everyone can show their work and you can see what's being done clearly. So here's what I mean by that. So what you can do there, a couple things you can do. When I say show their work, maybe you're doing maybe using a Kanban board where you're showing what's to do, what's progressing, what's done, what's incomplete, what's at risk. Hold people accountable to where they are and the status of their work, and have those status updates on a regular basis. Regular basis is what you deem necessary, whether it's once a week, once a day. If you want to have a scrum meeting in the morning where you get together and have that conversation each morning and see where you are. The frequency is based on your project and what the project needs, but you do want to make sure that the team members are accountable for the work that they have to do, and that they verbally, I say verbally because I feel like when I have to get up and say where I am, my status is, then I have a tendency to get ready for that and be ready to present. Now, all of that's great, but you also want to celebrate individual and team wins often, right? When you guys reach a milestone or you're on your way to reaching a milestone, thank your team for that. Celebrate the wins. Thank your team often, even for the things that they're doing. Like if you're in a meeting and they're working on something, and you know what, I say to them, hey, I appreciate that follow-up email you sent to the client. That was very pivotal in making sure they reached that goal, or they reached that outcome that we needed. Thank them for those things. Recognize them. A lot of times, your team members might be underperforming because they don't feel appreciated. They don't feel like anybody is paying attention to their work, or they are, you're accepting their work and not thanking them for it. You might think it's a reasonable service and why should I thank them? You might think that, but don't, right? Go in there and be thankful, because honestly, without that team, you would not have a project, because you don't know everything on how to do, you don't know everything about how that particular outcome is going to work, or how to get from point A to point B. Your team members are the ones doing the work. So appreciate them for that often. Bottom line is basically this whole thing that I'm talking about is staying in constant contact with your team, and what needs to be done. Don't wait till the deadline to start asking questions. Ask questions throughout. Take the team's temperature throughout this whole project, from beginning to end, and allow them to let you know what's going on, and just ask probing questions to help your team members open up to say, hey, I'm here, or hey, I've finished this, but I'm a little behind on this. So you can nip those things in the bud right away, so you don't end up with underperformance and missed deadlines. Now, if you've done all those things, okay, you've got these things in place, and that team member is still underperforming. They're still not getting the job done. So you are going to need to have a one-on-one conversation with that person, okay? And again, if you've got policies in place at your company that dictates how you handle this type of thing, follow that. But at some point, a conversation is going to need to take place. I have, again, had to do that. I've had to have a one-on-one meeting with someone to say, hey, this happened, we haven't met this goal, or you've consistently not been ready for this. Let's talk about what that means and why. What they say to you when you ask them point blank what the issue is, what they say is going to color how you proceed, how you handle it. Is it lack of knowledge? I mean, does it turn out that even though they said that they knew about something, about a particular procedure, and they don't, okay, we need to bring in someone that can get them trained. Do you have the capability to train them? That may be another piece of the puzzle. If that's the case, are they burned out? I mean, they may not say they're burned out, but you may see that. How can you handle that? Do you need to bring on another resource to take on some of the load? to help that particular employee or that team member that's burned out. Is there, I mean, and you may uncover a personal issue, and you have to be really sensitive to personal issues that might come up in a conversation, whether it's a sickness or a death or any level of personal issue. Be sensitive to that. Be prepared that might be the reason why. And if you make yourself open as the project manager to be for them to say those things to you, that's actually a good thing. I mean, it's not great when someone has an issue, whatever it might be, but if they can say it, if they can verbalize it to you, you're pretty much halfway there in getting that team member what they need and getting your project what it needs so that you can get to the project's expected end, right? So you may have to involve their direct supervisor, right, in any of these conversations. And again, your protocols in your company might say that when you need to have a conversation that you always involve the supervisor. So you may have to involve them and basically come up with some sort of improvement plan, some sort of process to get them on the right track. I'll tell you a very specific story. In the space where I work, I was a consultant before I became a project manager. So I would do the work that I am now managing a project for. I had a particular incident where someone didn't do the work that was necessary to do. I, as a consultant, knew what needed to be done because I had done the work before. I did step in to do that work. Not a typical thing that a project manager does. Some project managers do. I don't have a problem. I don't like to tell people to do anything that I'm not willing to do if I know the work. So I went in and did that, but then I had to circle because it needed to be done. I mean, we had a deadline, but then I had to circle back and have that one-on-one conversation and say, hey, you know what? This fell short. And here's what would have happened if we had walked into that meeting or got on that phone call and this wasn't done. Let's talk about how we can do better. And, he was receptive. I didn't know the full extent of the reason why. He gave me some information. But again, I worked with what I had. I worked with what I was given, and we were able to come to an agreement so that did not happen again. So, it's one of those things where you need to be prepared for it and open to how you handle that when that comes up. It's really important, and this is probably something you can do at the beginning of any project, of how everyone is working as a team and how when someone falls short, it really does affect the bottom line. It affects other people on the team. Someone may have to take up someone else's slack. So we don't want that. So you want to help them to understand how important it is that they do follow through on the commitment that they made on being on the team. So ultimately, it's all about support, right? If you need, and when I say support, you as the project manager may need support in having these types of conversations or dealing with these types of issues. If that's the case, you get the support you need, right? I mean, this isn't everybody's strong suit, right? Of having these basically you're confronting these issues. This is not everybody's strong suit. So, find another project manager, another colleague, your manager that can help you in those situations. And again, if you have a process in your company, be familiar with it and understand it and be ready to implement it. Not if, when it happens, because this is not something that isn't going to happen. It's inevitable. All right, so I hope this was helpful, guys. Once again, like I said at the beginning, I am looking to build a community of project managers or those who want to be project managers to start a dialogue. So please, in the comments, let me know about the time this has happened to you, or let me know if any of the tips and information that I've given you has been helpful. Once again, this is Latina, your project manager at Kismet Point Consulting. I help project managers build healthy relationships with their projects and their teams, and I help businesses get their projects finished. I'll talk to you soon. Have a good one. Bye.